It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cocked your head to the side and said I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me.
Ghouls and trolls from across the internet. This is Mr. Coreyism.
This is Jack Army.
Gala.
And welcome to the very first episode of the Graphic Novel Association. So, our topic for today here is characters and their motivations. Basically, we're going to be talking about our favorite characters with, in relation to clear motivations. So, best motivations, and of course, worst motivations, too. Like, our least favorite character with our least favorite motivations. Really crappy motivations. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, let's get this show on the road. So, who wants to go first?
Oh, jeez. I need to think of I need a moment to think about this.
All right. I'll just start with mine. I'm actually just going to go with Dexter Morgan from the Showtime series Dexter. Now, I actually really like the fact that his motivation is to, honor his father. Constantly talking about this thing called the Code of Harry. He's always seeing his father's ghost everywhere. And of course, that's pretty much the reason why he has this moral code in the first place, which is actually kind of awesome. I mean, you guys should really watch the show. You ever seen the show?
I've seen bits and pieces of Dexter. I know my uncle is way into that show, but I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say that you should stop watching it around 5th season or so.
Okay.
It seems to be in the TV shows. There's always that season where things start to rot out, though, if it goes on too long.
Right.
Except maybe Breaking Bad, I guess. But that's kind of like
Supernatural.
They gotta stop themselves before they could.
Or Simpsons, for that matter. That's an even more egregious example.
They had
I totally agree.
2,000 seasons already.
It's being funny about around 12th season, I guess, or I don't know. If you're really a hardcore Simpsons fan, it probably stopped being funny around 8th season.
If only we have our missing fourth guy, Amp, here today, because he would actually try and argue against that, because that fucker is a major Simpsons fan. I mean, he would always send links to oh, hey, here's the latest new episode.
Oh, jeez, I feel terrible talking behind his back.
Oh, it's all right. We're not typically talking about behind his back. He's gonna listen to this. But still, like I said, Dexter Morgan, he's actually got a lot of different complex motivations too, like his interest to have spoilers, by the way, his interest to have this normal life. But of course, he is detached from all kinds of normality, so which motivates him to be in this relationship with this woman named Rita, who was actually an awesome character, by the way. And of course, he was also determined to help raise her kids too, and was actually practically their father at one point. And of course, with I think it's the 4th season. Yeah, the 4th season with the villain Arthur Mitchell, played by John Lithgow. Dexter actually just sort of once again, spoilers, kind of befriended this villain, not knowing he's a villain yet, in order to get pointers on how to be a better father, which, like I said, really good, clear motivation. And of course, Dexter's an enduring character too. So, if you're unable to watch Dexter, you should. And if you say no, I will fucking hunt you down, audience. I will fucking hunt you down, and I will fucking slit your throat. Got it, bitches? Now, also,
I'll be sure to wear a metal collar on my neck from now on.
then I'll go for your gut.
Well, I'm a Highlander, so I guess that won't work too well, would it? Oh, wait, if I wore a Marvel collar, I'd be like the Guardian.
Oh, boy. Don't worry, I have my ways. They don't call me the God Killer for nothing.
Seriously, though, the source was garbage. But hey, it's a Sci-Fi Channel original movie, so...
It pretty much just goes without saying.
Except when they do deliberately bad films. Then everyone acts surprised that they're bad, when really that was the whole point of them. Like Sharknado.
Oh, yeah.
They're meant to be bad people.
I'm actually thinking about writing a spoof of all, deliberate bad movies. I'm going to call it Carpet Snakes. Snakes that attack from your carpet.
sharks or like sand sharks or something.
Am will not stop talking about those films with me.
Oh boy. Oh man.
He's always obsessing about the two-headed shark or the ghost shark and how.
Two-headed ghost shark in a Sharknado.
Coming soon to a theater near you. Or TV near you. Sharkahan Lincoln.
Or maybe not even cable, or maybe not even free cable. It probably will be on a something. Or worse, direct-to-video.
Oh dear lord.
They did one called Sharktopus, which is like half shark, half octopus.
Oh dear fucking lord.
Didn't they do, no, I think that why they made Sharknado also made the giant shark versus the giant octopus or something like that. Or I forget what it's called, but like basically it's kind of the same caliber of like deliberately bad film.
I swear to God, and just so we can like tie this back into the topic of motivation, whoever chooses to make these fucking sci-fi movies really need to get their priorities straight. I mean, they need to get motivated to... Actually, fuck it. I already know what's their motivation.
Money.
Money and pot. It's all about the green.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a new one. I'll have to write that one down.
All right. That's good, Jack Army. Oh, speaking of this, Jack Army, me and Will have actually been talking about this one thing. Before you arrived, we actually decided to ambush you a little bit with my least favorite character and his motivations.
I know what you're gonna say.
Shinji Ikari from Evangelion fucking sucks donkey nuts.
Oh, here we go.
That is right. The guy does nothing but fucking whine. I mean, I haven't even seen the show. I mean, I've seen clips of it. I've actually seen the
Then
Evangelion.
aren't you not in a very good position to judge?
Just a shout out to one of my favorite reviewers, Bit at the Sage.
Oh, Ben at the Sage?
Yes, I watched Bit at the Sage.
No,
review.
I am not going out like that.
Yes, you are going out like that. Trust me, I don't even need to watch the cartoon because he was able to distill everything that is wrong with fucking Shinji. Oh, I'm sneaky. I'm a coward. I'm so fucked up.
That wasn't exactly what he said. Essentially, his whole argument towards Shinji, I believe, was more along this lines. He said that the show does not exactly try to make him all that sympathetic, but we're supposed to empathize with him still, not make him likable. But what he had a problem with his character, though, was that because of the whole end of the world thing, that a lot of his problems becoming the focus actually kind of make it a bad motivation.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. When you're in charge of saving the world, hell, when you're in charge of anything, your own personal problems does not matter. I mean, hell.
He also brought up Superman Returns as an example of that. And you know what? Actually, something about that always turned me off, though, about it. Because, well, when I actually watched through that show, I remembered that a lot of times, though, they gave Shinji perfect opportunity to just walk up and leave. They say, you don't have to fight for us, and this has nothing to do with you. If you don't want to fight us, leave.
But the guy has lousy father issues, so he has to stay. Father, won't you please love me? I'm sorry. I love these robots and fighting these angels more than you.
I'm a dick.
Yeah. I've seen
Gendo Ikari. I wonder if he's in there's like a circle of hell where all these terrible anime dads just sit around and he's just chatting with them. With Eren Yeager's father, or say, I forget his name. Hylam, Edward Elric's father. Or maybe Shout. Well, I mean, they invited him because they were too disgusted by Shout Tucker. Just abusing your daughter and a dog apparently has cross standards from people who basically wanted to end humanity to bring back their own wives. But I don't know. But that was always weird. They always gave him the choice for it, which kind of helps undermine the whole, saving the world aspect. Even when they're about to almost face certain destruction for it, Gendo even still tries to act prideful for him. Like when he comes rolling back, he's like, "What do you want?" I mean, it's not like there's a giant angel just trying to break into our secret underground base or anything like that. I mean, we don't want you, okay? No, I want to fight, Father. You know what? Go right ahead.
Oh boy.
And actually, if you watch that episode, he almost actually wins. Almost being the key word. Won't spoil what happens, but it's pretty awesome. But
You can Okay, yeah.
Let me,
for the
let me
audience,
just put, let me just put it to you like this way, Dodson. If you thought that there were a lot of still frames in these episodes so far, wait till you see where they put the money.
Oh boy. Oh boy. You mean the nippleless tits?
No. Giant robots, of course.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, I actually have to admit, the giant robots are fucking awesome.
And they're not even robots, actually. We actually find out pretty early on that they're actually not robots.
But you know what? They still fall into the category. You still control them. I mean, hell, the source of the word robot doesn't even refer to machines. It refers to slaves.
Automaton.
Yeah, automaton. They're still fucking slaves, no matter. But still, with that definition of the word, those fuckers are still robots. Those Ava units are still robots because they are slaves. But all right. Has anybody thought about their least favorite character motivations and most favorite character motivations yet?
Oh, jeez. Still trying to wrap my head around this. I mean, there are a few characters. Usually, a lot of the characters that I dislike have nothing really to do with motivation as much as it is basically character.
Actually, all right. Since nobody can think about it, why don't we just pick apart, like motivations of famous comic book characters, like, for example, Batman.
Actually, you know what? I was trying to think about a motivation and what I thought about it though, but I actually found a lot of flaws in his motivation.
Well, yeah. For example, a lot of people are all like, "Yeah, Batman's so good because he doesn't have superpowers." He does have a superpower. His paycheck.
Oh yeah.
And you know what else someone also brought up about him was it kind of undermines his status of basically a normal person by having him basically prepare for everything and pretty much have a solution for everything. Because sometimes we don't see this, because by then we don't get to see his detective skills in action.
Well, yeah.
In fact, I'm kind of sad that a lot of Batman stories kind of negate the whole detective part. I mean, who doesn't love a good mystery?
I know, right?
That's why the
that's
Arkham games were so great reviewed, is because they had all the detective parts still in it. They didn't just forget about his Sherlock Holmes side.
Those games were actually pretty fun. The only problems I had with them was the art design.
What?
I do not like the designs for a lot of the characters.
Okay, admittedly, the Mad Hatter seemed a little bland in, Arkham City.
Yeah, Arkham City though. Who else can I think about?
But I definitely like how the Joker looked, how Bane looked.
I didn't like Bane's look all that much. I think he might have been better with more designs. And I thought the Scarecrow was way too over the top.
What? I mean, come on, the hood, the creepy ass mask.
Maybe it's because I'm just a sucker for the designs from Batman the Animated Series. Because those were the cream of the crop of designs. And I'm also kind of a fan of Harley Quinn's old outfit. Original outfit.
I agree. I mean, lately Harley Quinn's outfits have become extremely skimpy.
And just rather not all that good though for the most part. I mean with the full suit though, that resembles a Harlequin.
Oh yeah.
I see.
Although it'd be really nice to see her in a Harley Quinn themed battle armor. I mean, just think about imagine with me, if you will, something similar to the Dark Knight Batman's armor, just like.
Oh, I thought of another character design I didn't like. In Arkham City, Deadshot's design, awful.
I haven't got to him yet.
Oh, well, it looks terrible. It looks nothing like him. It's full of blues and I think browns and yellows instead of the red and yellows.
And you know what?
But I think it's this. What I remember is this. But I haven't played Arkham Origins, but I've seen that his design looks way better. So I guess they corrected that.
Well, yeah.
And again,
All right. So,
But as for his motivation, another motivation though, it feels like a lot of times Batman really doesn't fix a lot of stuff in Arkham City though, and because of his and because a lot of his villains actually kill people, not killing them actually kind of feels like a bad idea.
well, Yeah, but if
And because the comic keeps going on, though, nothing will change because of the status quo. So essentially, all of this is basically
for not.
it's the kind of which going back to Arkham City was actually kind of poked fun at by the Joker. He's like, every time I let you loose, you go around and kill more people. Think of it as a running gag.
oh man. But of course, one can easily argue that this is actually sort of like highlighted in the animated movie Batman Under the Red Hood, that Batman does not want to become like these killers.
Right.
I mean, you have to remember the guy's still a child. I mean, he's still a fucking child. Just look at the way he dresses.
This great
what
line
else?
in Justice where Superman is like mad at him for never killing the Joker, and he's like, one death to save millions. And Batman is like, it always starts with one.
Well,
like,
yeah, I mean, you just got to think about that.
Yeah, tell that to Wonder Woman.
right? Yeah,
yeah.
right.
I mean, you just got to consider that. But what I mean by is, okay, you know what? Why don't you go ahead?
Also, Wonder Woman highly underrated.
I completely agree. I completely agree. I mean, I actually saw this one article about Gail Simone's conversation with Joss Whedon, and actually shared this very sad story. We could have had fucking Wonder Woman written by Joss Whedon.
Wow.
And Wonder Woman writer, once Wonder Woman writer, Gail Simone, actually lamented on how they both had this huge missed opportunity because, possibly during the time, don't quote me on this, that she was taking off the Wonder Woman books, so she was a little bummed out about it. And of course, Joss Whedon was no longer on that project, and of course, DC is just sort of like sitting around holding their dicks. They'll be all like, we might have a Wonder Woman movie if Batman vs Superman did any good.
Maybe she'll have a cameo.
Even though we keep changing everything, and I don't believe they don't have a state. Do they have a release date for it yet, or?
What was that again?
Do they have a release date stated for it yet, or is it pushed back?
No, Batman vs Superman is definitely a solid thing, and apparently a lot of people are excited about, the Suicide Squad movie, which seems to be
A Suicide Squad movie is not nice, though.
really, because I don't know. I think a movie like that would kind of play to DC's mentality, as in
Release date 2016.
Shit.
wow.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
But you know what?
Gonna beat Marvel, even though they've already got successful films out. I mean, okay, I'm not too big a fan of every single one of them, but they're pumping out movies. They got a whole stage of this stuff all planned out. So, remind me again, who's a successful one?
Well, fucking Marvel. Marvel, it is fucking DC in the ass.
Right now,
Gotta step up their
DC is
game,
like Marvel's
unfortunately.
bitch.
But it just seems like in the television department, DC seems to be succeeding. I mean, I personally, despite the fact that it's cheesy, like The Flash. Oh, by the way,
I need to watch The Flash. I keep saying to myself, I gotta watch this, but I never get around to it.
Well, guess what, motherfucker? After this podcast, we're gonna be watching The Flash.
First episode?
The first episode is not available, unfortunately, but hey, I'm pretty sure you can...
As long as it's a standalone episode that doesn't require continuity, I'm good.
Somewhat, but yeah, trust me, it is a standalone episode, and you are going to love it. I mean, I swear to God, Flash is awesome. But actually, mind if I just go back to the whole Batman thing, because I actually just wanted to finish my thought.
Okay, let's try and keep focused.
All right. But like I said, Batman is a giant child. You don't want to know why? Because he never really grows out of his parents' death. I mean, pretty much the best thing that could ever happen to him is this post-traumatic altruism where that's actually his character motivation right there. He doesn't want anybody to feel as helpless as he was during that time, and unfortunately, killing someone probably, takes him back to the time where his parents were killed. The fact that, his parents were murdered right in front of him, and I honestly think that his excuse of not wanting to,
do that to someone else.
But I feel like there's also a lot of missed opportunities for him too. Like another motivation you could have was to avoid creating more, Two-Faces, because I think Harvey Dent's whole creation and Joker's creation kind of, basically
and
has an
Mr.
effect
Freeze.
on him. Oh yes. Wait, Mr. Freeze?
He had a hand in creating Mr. Freeze too, because he I don't know, it varies on the writer a lot.
Which series?
I think
Because I know they did that in the Adam West TV show.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not your fault, Batman. Man, you accidentally accidentally knocked down that cooling unit.
Right. Do that. Oh, and Black Mask. In some stories, he's responsible for like burning Black Mask onto his face.
All right.
You know, and they actually do stress that sometimes in comics by having villains pretty much say that they're created because of Batman, and that Batman's existence creates more villains. I remember they did that in the animated series when they had a whole trial, and that was a pretty awesome episode.
That was
Yeah.
really awesome. I mean, basically, the Joker was all like, you know what? If Batman didn't exist, we would have still existed anyway, one way or another. Evil still exists, whether Batman is there or not. I mean, hell, there are a lot of cops that create villains. I mean, hell, in real life. I mean, people are all like, fuck the police, motherfucker.
And sometimes the police could be villains.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I could still... By the way,
Yeah.
Zimmerman, watch your fucking back. Everybody else has gotten over it, but I haven't. Zimmerman, fuck you. Fuck you so hard. Fuck you.
And he's still pissed off at O.J. Simpson too. So if you're listening to this podcast, you better.
Yeah, and this is like this is actually like sort of like the perfect like thing about like cops creating villains. I mean, sure, Zimmerman was sort of like motivated by the fact that the victim was wearing a fucking. I swear to God, fuck you, Zimmerman. But
And yes,
the-
and also following him around and basically acting surprised when he gets kind of defensive about it. That's exactly what would happen in real life, and it kind of did. Maybe you should
Like
not have
what?
gotten out of the car.
yeah,
like,
but still, the cops arrested him. He got released, and there were a shitload of riots, and well, more or less, those are possibly one-time villains, and of course, people are probably still protesting, especially with police violence still out there. So they're, but still,
Like Prometheus he has the same thing as Batman.
oh yeah, he's motivated to kill all heroes because his parents were killed by cops.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but unlike Batman, he cheats. And I even love how he won him over. He swapped the disc with him and basically gave him all the martial arts abilities of Stephen Hawking.
I will strike you down with my karate limb fist.
And
Unfortunately, he does not have his
Yeah.
super wheelchair of death that shoots
Right.
rockets at people.
yeah,
That would be
Oracle-
awesome.
And Oracle even cants him out on it. It calls
You know,
him
for
out
Mr.
and
Marvelous, I need to add a character like that. No, people are very happy about disability representation,
Canada.
so I would not shy away from giving a character a wheelchair, rockets in that wheelchair.
And you know what? Oh, by the way, Jack Army here is actually working on a comic book, you say?
I already linked it, Mr. Marvelous. Remember?
Yeah, Mr. Marvelous. Oh, by the way, I will add a link later to the video description, so
I'll give you the link.
watch out. Yeah, he'll give me the link, and I'll give you guys the link, and seriously, the guy's pretty much the only one among this ragtag trio that already, has something out. And of course, I'm actually working on something too, which, since we're still on the whole disability motivation thing, mine is, it's got a weird name. It's going to be called Postmodern Sherazade.
Postmodern Sherazade.
Basically, the postmodern part comes from Postmodern Prometheus, an alternate title for Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And Sherazade is actually the woman who created 1001 Stories in the Arabian Nights, which included the classic story Aladdin. But still, Postmodern Sherazade is actually going to be, 4 stories in one, 2 short stories, 1 long story, and 1 fake commercial. And of course, with the main story, the main character, which I'm going to be calling the Righteous Sinner, actually has a few disabilities his damn self, which actually kind of adds to his motivation. He still wants to be kind to people and actually prove to other heroes that he's not as lame as they think he is. I mean, basically, his power is to tell truth from lie. Basically, he can catch anyone in a lie supernaturally. And of course, a lot of people could say that's a lame. And a lot of people can say that's a lame power. I mean, do you think that's a lame power?
Hmm?
Fuck you, Jack Army. But still, do you think telling truth from lie, like supernaturally, is a lame power?
I don't think that's too lame a power.
But still, my main character.
Wait, does truth extend to like true statements like scientific facts though? Like if someone doesn't know an answer, you pretty much know. I mean, again, what's this based on? Like he has all knowledge of the universe, so essentially all that's defined by truth, or just people telling the truth.
Oh, he can see people's hearts. Basically, he can actually see the like the heartbeats of other people, and like he could tell if someone lying if someone heart beats too much.
He could also use that power to essentially tell if someone has a bad heart condition to basically be a medical scanner, or tell if someone's not human underneath.
Well, okay, yeah.
See, those are nice ideas, though. You got to be creative with. I like being creative with powers and just having everybody just use multiple uses for it.
Right.
Yeah.
There's
and trust.
More than just punching things,
Right.
Well, yeah. Plus, I'm actually just going to use this as like a hook to get people hyped and anticipated for my badass comic. Despite the fact that he has a relatively lame power, not flashy at all, he was actually motivated to learn more shit. Like he was part of this demon hunting organization where they teach him how to make magical weapons. So, guys, you guys are about to have your minds blown. He can shoot angels out of his gun, as an angelic bullet that transform into angels.
That sounds crazy awesome, actually.
Booyah! I mean, for example, just get out a shotgun, a magic circle comes out of the barrel, he shoots the bullet, and then the bullet just transforms into, 5 or 6 metallic cherubs that would just sort of like, with their little spears, just come in and fucking stab the demonic enemy. And of course, he would also practice some pagan stuff, so he can actually shoot on the ground and summon a fucking earth fish spirit to, create a stone cage or whatever. But still, the message is you don't need to be limited by what you have physically. You can always just go off and learn stuff.
Yeah. Like Locke said in Lost, he's like, don't tell me what I can't do, and then like angrily he wheels away in his wheelchair.
Yeah, by the way, now that we've gotten to the point where we're talking about my comic, let's talk about your Mr. Marvelous.
Oh, jeez. Still, basically, starting this. A lot of this stuff I'm thinking up are basically these really loose ideas that I just come up with. So you know what? That's my idea. Instead of like comics with long reaching continuity, I just wanted to be like self-contained episodes. I think the closest analog to my comic would probably be Regular Show on Cartoon Network.
That's actually a good idea. Do that.
Because I love Regular Show.
Same here. Regular Show on Cartoon Network, on whenever. I don't know. You guys...
Anything but.
Anything but. Oh boy. I'm actually liking this so far. But... And yeah, sorry audience that we're not talking much about character motivation, but...
actually, there is a villain motivation I actually really like.
Okay, there we go. We're back on track.
It's rather not conventional, but I really liked, ever seen Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Disney film?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I love Frollo's villainous motivation in this one. It's not only very clever and complex, but also very despicable, which makes him a very memorable villain.
Dogfire, hellfire...
Played by Tony J or Tony Baker. I forget his name.
Who cares what his name is? He's got a sexy voice. He can blow me anytime.
Phrasing. No, that's not a phrasing. That's phrasing has to be accidental.
No, it's straightforward. I want him to blow me.
Feelings mutual. Also remember, he's also done other roles I remember, like Lieutenant from Fallout and. The Transcendent one from Planescape Torment. If any of you guys haven't played that game, play it if you love those like classic Baldur's Gate 90s RPGs.
All right.
But like his motivation, I love that the most though. In addition to basically being very racist towards the Romani population, referring to them as filthy gypsies and wanting them basically out of his city. So he also also wants to be a good Christian on top of that, mostly for basically hiding his true facade, and also probably because he really does believe it, but knows nothing about it because he's evil. So essentially, it takes a priest to essentially have him, keep Quasimodo instead of just killing him because he thinks he's a monster. After killing his mother, by the way.
Huh.
Oh man.
Yeah. Did I mention that he's a rather crafty villain?
Wow.
No, crafty's not the word. Diabolical.
Just speaking of
Bastard.
diabolical, I am a fan of Jafar.
Yeah, Jafar was also a very nice, an awesome villain too. But like the motivation for Frollo that really got to me was essentially when he finds Esmeralda and he's entranced by her. But of course he realizes that she's a gypsy, and 2, she's not married to him. So he feels bad about this because now he's violating his Christian principles he upheld. So
Yeah, and
what does he do? He thinks the best option is that I'm not to blame for this. So I'm going to I'm going to propose to her at a stake. Either she marry me or I burn her at the fire.
I swear to God, blue balls could do a lot of crazy things to people. You alright, dude?
Yeah, I'm fine. I've just been coughing much, recovering from a fucking cold. Yeah, sucks.
Yeah, that sucks. But also,
But I like that motivation. You don't really see that a lot of times in a villain, where essentially they're at a crossroads between their ethics, though. So they decide to basically bullshit around it and just do horrible things to pile on top of it.
Yeah.
I've done a horrible thing, so let's add more horrible things to add on top of it. I'm not to blame.
oh man. So
I gotta say that I also really liked his death scene, though. Essentially, him acting like Quasimodo and Esmeralda were demons, but really the verse he was quoting, he really was the demon. So he falls into, molten magma that's gone in the next scene. But hellfire.
this is actually kind of funny. All that could have been avoided if he just masturbated.
But that's also a sin too.
I'm pretty sure
It's
God
probably
would be
not as bad as all the other crap he did.
Yeah, but she's a gypsy and also a temptress, so I'm not to blame.
But still, I mean, he's got all that pent up rage, all that fucking blue balls. He just needs a jacket, man. Just a motherfucking jacket.
Right? Like all the pedophiles, instead of like actually doing something with a kid, they could just like think about it and no one would ever know the difference. Right?
Right. So it looks like we're running out of time, so why don't we Gawa, is it?
Sure, I guess.
Okay. Do you have any favorite characters and favorite character motivations before we close off?
Well, there was one I thought about like right as soon as I saw the Facebook post, and it's funny that you mentioned Dexter Morgan, because this guy that I thought of was named Derek Morgan, and he's in Criminal Minds, the TV show, and he's interesting because he's kind of got a Batman complex, because he was hurt by a pedophile when he was a kid, so he spent his whole life training to try to work for the FBI so he can have his revenge on pedophiles, and so no one else has to suffer the way he suffered. And eventually he finally gets to have his revenge on this same pedophile that hurt him, Carl Buford, which was like a really relieving moment for him.
I swear to God, pedos give me the creeps.
Yeah, me
Who
too.
doesn't?
Yeah, they're like the worst, like people, and even in prisons, it's like they're on like the bottom, they're the lowest on the totem pole.
Let's not go into that.
Right?
Yeah. We're talking about fictional characters, not real life people.
Right.
Even though we did just talk about a real life person, fuck you, Zimmerman.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to tie into our, very loose points. Have you noticed that we haven't really talked about motivation a lot in this? We just kind of
Probably because I can't really think of characters with really specific original motivations. A lot of times, motivations usually are from a template, though, like revenge or helping people, and usually characters have a mixture of them. So it's not really the motivation that really defines the character. It's more or less what they do, what their personality is, the actions that they perform, how far they go to actually achieve that goal, and pretty much just anything that goes between it. But usually, villain motivations are usually a very creative place to essentially explore different kinds of motivations.
Oh hell yeah!
I think the Patriots from Metal Gear Solid 2. I actually kind of like the motivation that they had. It's basically very very contradictory, but at the same time, I like where they're going for it though. Essentially, they believe that humans do not, due to the age of information, Metal Gear Solid 2, the Patriots. Their whole idea was that essentially because mankind can't be trusted with all this information because it keeps piling up, and they pretty much lay a rundown of humanity, pretty much just spewing out truths and not facing criticism for it, and pretty much just culling around people who actually regurgitate the same talking points. Basically, people never learning anything, throwing out these very contradictory morals. So their idea was to basically destroy all of that and basically create a context and basically make a life for future generations what is best for them. But of course, they don't know very much about humanity, so that's where they become the villainous parts. And since then, they actually managed to basically kill several people in a terrorist attack and pretty much waste money with very expensive rigs and weaponry. It's kind of wondering just how manipulative they're going to enforce this.
Huh.
And, plus, there's also the idea that they see humanity as simply tools. They just ditch everything about saying we have your best interests at heart and pretty much just saying you're no more than tools to us, and a weapon has no right to think for itself.
Right.
They pretty much go on and pretty much just list off flaws of humanity, and especially with Raiden, they pretty much just dig into Raiden's character, pretty much pointing out why he's a perfect representation of the masses they have to protect from themselves. Blaming on other people, selfish, cold, distant, follow whatever they're told.
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff.
Short story I read a while back where this alien asked this guy to describe all of humanity in one sentence, and first he thinks of all the bad stuff, all the selfishness and the greed and the killing each other, but then he thinks of all the good stuff, the kindness, the altruism, the charity, and then he looks the alien dead in the eye and says, "We're a work in progress."
It's actually a really good description. I like that.
That's right. Mankind is a work in progress. I mean, we may have problems now, but you know what? We're getting better.
Right.
We're getting better. I mean, over 35 states, gay marriage is perfectly okay. Gay marriage is perfectly legal. It's celebrated. So,
400 years ago, we were burning witches at the stake, and now we don't do that so much.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, our goal. I mean, of course, we're sort of stumbling towards our goal for world peace. But you know what? Nothing good ever comes easy. And do you think we should close on that?
I really can't think of much else, and I can't think of a lot of characters really bad motivations. But I think a motivation that I really just dislike about villains is usually very bland motivation.
Right.
Patience.
I want to take over the world just because I want to take over the world. So I'm gonna kill a bunch of people.
Like that.
This flat.
So it's not
2D.
really so much characters I have a problem with. It's mostly motivations. But I don't know.
And that's why we chose to start with this topic in this episode. So with time running out, I'm actually just going to go ahead and say thank you for listening, and thank you, Jack Army, for joining us tonight.
Sure thing, Coreyisms.
It's Corey is M, and it's Coreyism to you, Bob. And
Duly noted.
And thank you, Gowa, for joining us too.
You're welcome.
And maybe I'll hope to see you next week. And same goes to you, audience. I hope to see you next week. New topic, possibly new people, and of course, new ramblings. So see you guys later. Peace out.